Welcome to 5-Minute Lessons for Nonprofits. I'm Mike Gellman. Today, we will be talking about applying segregation of duties beyond standard checks and balances. First, segregation of duties, as we all know, is a bedrock principle of internal accounting control systems. And just to look back for a second, AICPA defines segregation of duties in three segments. One, segregation of duties is a basic building block of sustainable risk management and internal controls, as we stated. Second, a principle of segregation duties is based on shared responsibilities of a key process that disperses the critical functions of that process to more than one person or department. And third, without this separation in key processes, fraud, error, and risk are far less manageable. These are interesting and good definitions, but I like to think of segregation of duties at its core as a checks and balances. And look at this piece right here. It's really separating a process or function into component parts and making sure one individual or department does not have singular control. And I'm going to repeat that one individual or department doesn't have singular control. So keep that in mind. Now, from a straight segregation of duties point of view, we always have this compliance checking and then error identification. And from a compliance checking point of view, it's proper approval, budget parameters as an example, or allowable costs and such. And of course, one that comes to most people's mind, that error identification is, we're doing simple calculations that amounts on an invoice are correct, that we didn't duplicate a payment, just to name a few. But beyond this compliance and error checking, I like you to think about the separation of thought and allowing for strategic questioning of a transaction or process. This is interesting to me, what really adds to segregation of duties. I don't want to downplay the errors in the compliance checking and the safety. We always have to be there. That's a millisecond away from a problem. But if you look at segregation of duties, it adds a whole different consideration to decisions we're making as we go through our process related to budgets and such. And I want the way to illustrate that for you is think of this as two sets of pause buttons when we get to a moment where we're interacting with the segregation of duties principle. Pause button number one is we're pausing quickly before that transaction or that decision is made to make sure that our checks and balances are aligned, that we have more than one person involved. But I also really like the second pause button. That's the emphasis of today's presentation, which is this thought and questioning. Pause button number one, again, checks and balances, always want to be safe and compliant and error-free as much as possible. What I really lean on a lot, though, and want to really emphasize today, here's the second pause button, to make sure that from a strategic quality control point of view, that the function and process or the transaction we're approving aligns with our mission, is a good use of our resources, and overall puts the organization in an enhanced sustainability position, helps make the balance sheet stronger, helps make the organization stronger and more sustainable. So there's a natural tension between these two, and that's good. That's part of this separation of duties. We're always balancing these checks and balances. I think of them as all sort of on the left side of the page, and then on the right side of the page, because I always do that first. On the right side is the strategic assessment process. That, boy, is this smart at this time? Does this match up with our mission? Is this good for the organization? To demonstrate, let's go through a brief example, a hypothetical situation. Visualize a conference with about 4,500 attendees where 5,000 boxes of chocolate were ordered for the attendees. So from a checks and balances point of view, everything might be perfect. The chocolate was delivered on time. We got what we ordered. It was put in a safe spot at the conference for distribution to our 4,000 plus members who were there. And we made sure that it tied in with the budget, that it was a budgeted line item and such. No problem. We can check the box yes on a great segregation of duties, multiple people involved with the order. But let's go to the second box. Was this really good for the organization? Was it a smart purchase? Now, step back. Let's assume that this conference was for CBOs, community-based organizations fighting hunger in their communities. Okay, now let's look at the 5,000 boxes of chocolate. Was this aligned with their mission? Was this a good use of the funds? This was not a small dollar amount. I'm sure this added up to $30 or $40 or $50,000. And what if, and I hope this doesn't happen, what if someone at the conference actually complained and maybe even tweeted out that here I'm at a conference on homelessness and we just spent $42,000 on boxes of chocolate for the attendees? So with that second lens, yes, the order was correct, but we might have caught and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do that this year. So that's it for today. For more information, please go to SE4Nonprofits.com. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.